These images of salt and light are strong in the readings today, and I need to unpack them a little bit with you so you get what's going on here. The light. The Jewish people at the time of Isaiah believed that they had received the light of revelation, which indeed they had. And Isaiah, though, was pushing the idea that that light of revelation is meant for other people too, other nations, not just you. Well, guess what happens to Isaiah eventually? He gets killed. Okay, it's not light to hear that story. But even further, in the time of Jesus, the idea of light was taught by the rabbis as being a symbol of good deeds. So do you remember that story of Jesus and the wise and foolish virgins with the lamps lit? Those lamps were not the ancient equivalent of a flashlight. That's not Jesus' point. The point is that, what? You had better be doing good deeds when the Son of Man comes again, or you're going to be in trouble. That's what he means by keeping your lamp lit. It's just how the rabbis taught. Everybody knew that image. The light was a symbol of your good deeds. In other words, don't separate faith and works. People do this all the time. They go together like a hand and a glove, like dovetailing in a drawer. If you pull out the dovetails, the drawer falls apart, okay? You need both of the things. So keep them together. Light, good deeds. And Isaiah is pushing this with the idea of, did you notice charity? He talks about taking care of orphans, for example, but he also talks about justice. Freeing from oppression. That's not charity, that's justice. Justice, charity. Put the two together. It's like dovetailing, like a hand and a glove. Don't pull them apart or the drawer falls apart. That's the idea behind his preaching. Now, Jesus knew that very well. As you know, he taught in the kind of tradition of Isaiah the prophet, used other prophets too, but Isaiah especially. And so when Jesus is teaching today, he adds another image of salt. Now, the ancient world, Israel, most of their salt came from the Dead Sea area, and that meant that it had other minerals in it. It's not like the stuff we're used to, pure sodium chloride. It was sodium chloride and other stuff mixed in. And so the taste would kind of go after a while. It would start to taste like iron sometimes, or magnesium. You want a spoonful of magnesium? Yeah. And they needed salt, unlike us. Most of us eat way too much of it, as doctors will tell you, okay? But they needed it to preserve food. Why? They didn't have refrigerators, okay? They didn't have freezers. So you had to brine things and pack things in salt to keep it from spoiling. And also food could be rather dull a lot of times. I remember well my time in Guatemala. We used to joke for dinner, are we having rice and beans or beans and rice? And it was day after day after day after day, and if there was no salt, it got pretty, okay? But it's a great weight loss plan if you ever want to try it. Okay. So salt was needed in that world. And that image was used also in the ancient world to talk about wisdom. St. Paul refers to it in Colossians chapter 4, it's verse 6, I think, when he says you should salt your conversation with wisdom. That was an image used in the ancient world. Salt also referred to wisdom. It referred to purity because you couldn't manufacture it. It was just a natural product, but also to wisdom. So salt your conversation with wisdom. What I see a lot of today, or hear a lot of today electronically, is trashing or pouncing and pounding the other. The other person has a different opinion, so you attack and crush them. That's the goal. But this is about wisdom. This is not about making smart aleck comments and knocking the other person down. It's about wisdom and good works. We have a world today, people, I think, that doesn't believe in a lot of this stuff. I don't know how much you read or hear. For example, there's a lot of killing in our world. A lot. We've got the abortion issue at one end, we've got the death penalty thing at the other, we got all kinds of killing in between. Remember St. John Paul II asked us to stop killing? Yeah, stop it. Life is a gift from God. So there's one. What about all kinds of economic or social injustice things that go on? We need to pay attention to these things and apply the gospel to them. It's part of who we are as Catholics. I remember this looking at an article published by the bishops back in 1993. I think most people never read it. It bears some rereading. This was called Communities of Salt and Light. They used the images from the gospel. They said at this time, the central message is simple. Our faith is profoundly social. We cannot be called truly Catholic unless we hear and heed the Church's call to serve those in need and work for justice and peace. The Church teaches that social justice is an integral part of evangelization, a constitutive dimension of preaching the gospel, and an essential part of the Church's mission. The center of the Church's social teaching is the life, dignity, and rights of the human person. We are called in a special way to serve the poor and vulnerable, to build bridges of solidarity among peoples of different races and nations, language and ability, gender and culture. The article goes on. I don't think most people read it. Maybe it's time to think about it. The gospel today tells us to do things we may be uncomfortable with. I don't know about you, but I don't find it easy to preach. I've met people who find it easy to preach, and usually I don't like the preaching. I find it kind of unnerving. For one, because you have to challenge people sometimes, like today's readings. It's a challenge. And if you're always finding comfort in the gospel, I submit to you, you're not listening very carefully. Darn it, sometimes the gospel is annoying. And here's one of those things today. We have to look at things differently. We have to change. We have to think about others seriously. And how do we do that in ways that promote justice for everyone, not for one group or the other, but for everybody? It's a challenge. Darn it, it's a challenge. But if you want to accept it, then call yourself a Christian. If you want to be comfortable all the time, then don't bother coming. This is different. The Lord on this day is calling us to something serious. So is the prophet Isaiah, speaking in the Spirit. How will you respond today? How will you let your light shine? Your good deeds, your wisdom, your light, your salt. How will you make that work in the week to come? Only you can answer that question. But I hope that what I said today helps you a little bit. But we can do it. We can all do it because of the power of Christ, the one on whom we feed in this Eucharist. And isn't that a reason for joy, people? Amen? Amen. Thank you.